Hello everyone. Not that crowded so far, so room to improve here. Maybe some guys from outside want to join. In our complex and fast-moving world, as all of us know, e-commerce plays an increasingly important role. Increasing urbanization and booming e-commerce mean that logistics, especially in the last mile, is facing great challenges. My name is Johannes Breit, and as said before, I'm CEO and co-founder of Storebox, a micro-hub and self-storage solution in Austria, Germany, Switzerland, and Luxembourg. I'm very pleased to welcome all of you to the panel with the title, The Impact of the Growth of E-commerce and the Challenges for Last-Mile Logistics. In this panel, we will discuss challenges, as well as share best practices in last-mile logistics. The last mile is an enormous cost factor along the supply chain. Changing consumer behavior, climate change, cost pressure, and tech innovation offer opportunities as well as risks. Today, I'm beyond excited to welcome top experts on my left-hand side. Klaas Lindgren, please come on stage, Head of Customer Fulfillment from Ikea. Rainer Schwarz, Managing Director, DPD. Wolfgang Grausenburger, Head of Marketing, Österreichische Post, Austrian Post. We have to be aware of the pictures here. Jürgen Bauer, Member of the Board, Gebrüder Weiß. And last but not least, Davos Sertic, Chairman of the Transportation and Traffic Division, Vienna Chamber of Commerce, as well as CEO of Unit Cargo. Welcome. All right. I would like to start this discussion with you, Klaas, because you're the only one representing retail in this round. So maybe, Klaas, Ikea has recently opened the Ikea located at Westbahnhof, the urban Ikea. What were the reasons behind and what is the strategy?
Good question. It's easy. We have as an idea and as a vision to come closer to the many people. We want to be where the many people live, and where the many people live in Vienna is in the city. So that's easy for us. We want to have the existing stores, but then come into the city with a full retail offer. Yeah. So this is a strategy that's valid for Vienna and most IKEA cities in the world. Mm-hmm.
And what challenges are you facing there? Because I guess the space there is very limited. Therefore, I think you have to implement some other approaches, like, for example, omni-channeling.
Yep.
What is the concept there?
Yeah, it's a completely different concept. It's not a traditional normal IKEA store. We don't have the normal full-serve, self-serve. We have a storage solution in the basement, a fully automatic storage cloud solution. We have, of course, transport limitations and many other aspects of the business that are completely new to us, since we have been operating stores outside the cities. But I think that's what's new to us. But then also, how do we bring the range, the offer to the customers, so the customers can see, touch, and feel.
Mm-hmm, I see. And what adjustments were made then in delivery? You also implemented parcel lockers, for example. You implemented click and collect solutions as well as home delivery, still home delivery. Yep. Maybe you can tell us something about changes compared to, let's say, a big store, Ikea Vösendorf, to Ikea Westbahnhof.
Yes. The store on Westbahnhof is complemented by a customer distribution center also in the 21st district in Vienna that we built a few years ago. So the stores operate it together with that unit in order to do fulfillment and replenishment and deliveries. As a standalone, the store could not work, so we need the logistics support for the store to function. So it was a completely new concept where we no longer have all the stock in the unit itself. We have it but close in the city, so we can deliver same day, next day, and so on. And of course, a big initiative that we have taken, not alone for Vienna, but that we are on now, is to convert our last mile distribution to emission free, and in our case, then electric vehicles. So moving the last mile fulfillment close but outside the cities, and then to complement with, like you said, with micro hubs, with click and collect lockers, and.
And what do you think then of white label parcel lockers? Is this something which is very common in some other countries where you have experience as well, compared to Austria?
Yes, I mean, if you look to the Scandinavian markets, they are, I think, a bit further with the white label or a generic parcel locker structure where all companies can go into and for customer pickup. I believe that's a good concept. I think it's a smart approach and something that I think could be beneficial from a CO2 footprint perspective, from a convenience, and from a cost perspective as well for the retailers and for the customers. So. As a principle, I think it's a good direction, yes.
Okay, thanks. I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, please feel free and use Slido. I will integrate your questions. Thanks, Klaas. I would like to hear your opinion, Wolfgang Grausenburger, on the topic parcel lockers. What role do you think white label parcel lockers will play in the future, and what's the approach of the Austrian Post?
Now, I think we have to deal with it. So. Parcel locker or white label parcel locker are here to stay. Yeah, I think we're a little bit different to the Scandinavian countries because of there is the delivery at the home address not learned, not in the DNA, like in the DACH realm, like in Germany, Switzerland, Austria. But I think it's also an factor we need to face this. Yeah? Our opportunities are clear. We have a huge network by ourselves. So we have around about 60,000 pickup stations direct on the addresses. It's for, let's say, 80% for the parcel regarding the volume. Yeah. So we can fit or let the shipments there where the customer lives. We also have pickup stations, yeah, with compartments, so near to 100,000 compartments with 500 stations around about, yeah? And that's also a solution. But we see that the possibilities, and we give them the shipper the opportunity to let the buyer join. Or select a direct locker delivery, that's near to or a little bit lower than 2% of the volume we get directly into the locker. So the wish is not so big. I think there will be pressure in the future if the delivery at home will cost, and that's the second big issue we at the moment not have in our areas. Yeah? So the delivery at home is, if the basket fits, is for free, yeah? But that doesn't mean the delivery didn't cost something. Yeah,
yeah,
it
that's true.
But the e-commerce trader did handle. They are handling this. Yeah? So and I think we have to deal with it, and we will deal with it. We also have to think about it. How we can use white label if it's necessary. At the moment, we have our infrastructure. We are using our infrastructure very good, very intensive. Yeah. And the second question is how we deal in future with our own infrastructure. It could also be an open infrastructure in future, but at the moment... Yeah,
that would be my second question, maybe. What's more likely? So, as you said, you have like 500 lockers with thousands of compartments. What do you think? Is it more likely that you are going to open your lockers for other courier services, or is it the other way around, that you're willed to use infrastructure from, let's say, white label infrastructure players out there?
To be honest, I think that's in the first way, it's a strategic question yeah, for us. But we have at the moment the situation that we need these places. Yeah? We need these compartments
because utilization is so high.
Volumes,
I see.
Of our growing. At the moment, we don't have to answer this question. It could change if we don't have this market share or what else. Yeah? But at the moment, we don't have to answer this question. And we also try to develop our last mile, and I think the differentiation in the CAP branch is the last mile, yeah? To develop this into a convenient solution for the recipient. And also our 510 drop-off points are very important for this convenient, because of we have the possibility that our customer can ship a return shipment, yeah, 24/7. Because of there is no shop, there is no branch, we have self-service stations where he can put this, and that means also for the sender, he got returns really fast back.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting and exciting for our audience to hear the opinion of a second big player out there in the Austrian CAP market, Mr. Schwarz. What do you think about white label parcel lockers? Will this be something to stay in the last mile logistics, and how important is it for your business?
Okay. Yeah, from my side, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for the question. It's a very good question. And I mean, the answer from our side is clearly yes, we are in favor of white label boxes because it has to do with the market shares in Austria. I mean, it was mentioned already that there's a bit an imbalance. We have the Austrian Post, which is a very big, is the biggest parcel company in Austria. We are the second biggest. And so if there is one company having a network, then our opinion is for the consumer, it should be open for everybody. Not that we need it urgently, we have partners, Storebox is one, and others, and I think it's for the consumer it's better because I mean, if all the boxes are white label boxes, then no matter where you go, you can pick up your parcel or place your return parcel. If you have every competitor in the market with an own network, it gets complicated for the consumer. So yes, white label boxes are good, and in general, I think this is the way forward for city logistics. Because, yeah, it's on the one hand, it's very comfortable. You have 24/7, you can pick up your parcel, and it's also for the environment a good solution because you don't have a lot that traffic anymore to deliver to every household. Yes, it is true, Austrians like to have their parcel delivered at home. But we hope that this is going to change a little bit because it would make things much easier, especially when restrictions come to enter the city center of Vienna, for example, or other cities. This would be a very good solution.
Okay, that's a good point. Maybe we can pass this over to Davor. You mentioned bans in city centers. Davor, as a chairman for transport and traffic in the Viennese Chamber of Commerce, you represent all entrepreneurs in this industry. What do you think? What challenges is the industry currently facing, and especially in regards to the point Mr. Schwarz mentioned, will we see more driving bans in city centers in the future, especially in Vienna, for example?
First of all, thank you for the invitation from WOF Summit. I was last year's speaker also in Bratislava, very professional organization. And I think I'm the only semi-professional in this panel. But in my professional business, I'm a logistics company, running a logistics company in international transport. And I'm bringing the goods, an example, from Sweden to Austria, to a hub close to Vienna. And from there, the last mile is challenged to bring the goods as fast and as effective as possible to the end consumers. Will there come bans? I don't know it. We are in discussion with the politics, and that's my job as a representative of the Austrian Chamber. And that's a big challenge for us. Yeah? We have a cooperation in our project Logistics 2030 Plus, and this platform helps us to be permanent in contact, in conversation with the politics, because you know from experience it is very hard to sit with the people, to bring them the knowledge how logistics works. And I worked out several years ago logistics for dummies, etc. politics, yeah? to explain them how important logistics is. And it was very successful because it explained them that without logistics doesn't work anything. And I think bans could come if I see now the trend in the politics, but we are here to avoid that and to explain the politics that yes, it can be, but it must be done intelligent and together also with the economy.
Maybe Mr. Bauer, from the perspective of Gebrüder Weiss, what do you think if bans will come in city centers? You're a specialist as well in two-man delivery, for example, for Ikea. What do you think, what challenges are you facing then, and what possible solutions are out there?
Yeah, good afternoon also from my side. Bans. So what we would think that the best thing would be if it would be clear within the ring or within the belt only electric mobility, yeah. But then it would be clear for everyone, yeah, and no changes, you know. So this could be a solution because the driving ban will, from my side, not work for a two-man delivery, you know. If you order a refrigerator, there must be still a possibility to bring it up to the second floor. So we do not think that there will be driving bans in that you are not allowed to go in. It will be more cost intensive, and it could be that alternative drives are mandatory. But then also the public infrastructure must be better for this kind of solution, and we need also media hubs or city hubs, because alternative drives brings you nearer to the city, you know. 10 years ago or 20 years ago, everybody wanted to have logistics company as far out as possible out of the city. But when we are talking now with about ranges of 100 to 120 kilometers of an electric truck, then and the subcontractor is already coming perhaps 20 kilometers from away, then every kilometer counts.
Yeah. And then, in your opinion, you're thinking that logistics is coming back to city centers. Is this right?
B2C logistics.
B2C logistics.
No, I've to always from point, because 85% of our business and our DNA is coming out of the B2B market, but we see clearly that the B2C market goes nearer to the city centers.
And you also mentioned alternative driving systems, especially when it comes to bans in city centers. What do you think? Electromobility versus hydrogen? Which technology will change the industry, especially in your industry, because you're running vehicles heavier
Again,
than...
two answers. For the last mile electricity, so battery electric, and for the time being, you know, I think for the next 10 years, like we see it at the moment, it's hydrogen, but green hydrogen. You know, hydrogen would be easy or easier, but green hydrogen is the challenge we are doing now since 4 years. Our investigations in this kind, but it's always hard. You know, it's always this hen or egg.
Yeah.
I need the green. I need the green hydrogen. Then I get the trucks. I can give you the trucks when I have minimum 2,000 trucks, because otherwise I cannot have the service. And so nobody is really moving. You know, and especially the politics says more or less hydrogen is the champagne of the energy industry. So who will get it? Okay. Even when we look now at the Ukraine crisis.
But champagne sounds nice, right? So
expensive.
It could be a solution. But in terms of demand, we know that sustainability is a hot topic. Climate change is very important, but also the demand is changing. For example, Ikea, you're doing a lot What role does climate neutrality play for Ikea, and what concrete measures have you taken in this space?
A super big role, and we have decided globally, not only in Austria, by 2025 all last mile deliveries will be converted to emission-free. You know, we also believe for last mile logistics we believe in battery electric for now. And then we have also made a decision also on a global scale to say by 2030 that we will be climate positive as a company, right?
Globally?
Yes, exactly. We follow those two ambitions equally in Austria, of course, and we have actually put an internal goal to be faster than 2025 with the last mile converted to emission-free. So we're on a good trend here, and by own investments and working together with partners. But for us, that's absolutely a must for our business, and it's also in the discussions with partners and customers. That's a clear statement we make that as of 2025 we have converted, right?
Okay, I see. And I think we are talking about last mile logistics, and I'm sure you have a lot of challenges also on the main transport routes, then with planes, train, trucks, and so on. But especially when it comes to last mile logistics, maybe Mr. Schwarz, what measures did you set in this space to be more sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, we did many things. First of all, we started, I think we were the first ones with the so-called city hubs. It's a micro hub. We tested them in delivering the parcels with electro bikes. And it's working well. I mean, we had some learnings, of course, because, you know, electro bike is not electro bike. So there was, at the beginning, not really a good choice. The second part is, of course, we also have our plans to have the whole fleet in the last mile electro fleet. But there are some challenges still. I mean, first of all, in the current situation, with the problems in the supply chains, if you order a car at the moment, they tell you, well, 1.5, maybe 2 years if you get it, things like that, and other things. I mean, it's at the moment a bit of uncertainty in the technology also, because, for example, if you take these charging stations, I mean, they are talking already of different solutions. For us, would be better something, you know, where you can charge the battery from the ground.
Or maybe change it, right? There are solutions.
Yeah, we also tried that with changing, but that has also some problems, because for our business, we cannot afford to come back to charge the battery or change the battery and go again on tour. It has to work the first time, you know, it has to have enough energy for the whole area, and therefore these solutions are not good enough. But I think it's a combination of micro hubs, especially for the cities where the distances for us are still long, and things like that. So yes, we are doing that, and I think our industry needs to go very fast in that direction, because we always have this bad image, you know, everybody wants his parcel the next day, the next morning, but when it comes to any kind of logistics centers, nobody wants to have them close to his house.
Yeah, that's a good point. So your opinion is that the driving systems or change of driving system is very important, but it's more about the change of the whole logistics process and systems with media hubs, micro hubs, and so on. Mr. Grausenburger, what strategy is the Austrian Post actually following in this area in terms of sustainability?
Two topics. First, because of the bans and so on in inner city areas, we have done a study together with Mr. Kummer, the professor of the University of Vienna, e-commerce, as a commerce, 3 years ago. yeah, where we looked regarding the traffic and who is responsible for this traffic in a city. Yeah? And we have seen there that the CAP branch, it's not the Austrian Post, it's the CAP branch, yeah, are responsible for 0.8% of the traffic in a city.
That's
yeah?
ridiculous.
So this branch is very professional. This branch is very professional in logistics. There is no empty car. There is a fleet which will be perfect, fits to his tour, and I think there and that we should say there is not such a lot. Possibility to save more. Yeah, but and one second topic is the craftsmen and technicians. Yeah, they are responsible for 6% traffic in a city. Yeah, so and they are not logistic profis, so they are other profis. They want to build a kitchen, whatever. Yeah, and for that, for them, that's not really necessary to think about it. This. So and I think here come together the craftsmen and also the logistics. It will make sense. You know, so that the kitchen is delivered one day before the craftsman came, and then the craftsman came with an electric bike with the parts he needs for building the kitchen on the backside. So that's also thoughts.
Point, yeah.
I think you should discuss this. And the second one is yes, we are also have on our way forward the agenda that we will have only electric driven last mile at 2030. This year, since February this year, we only buy electric-driven last mile vehicles. Yeah? So that's clear, and that's our path in direction 2030.
Is it for whole Austria? Because
For whole Austria.
Not only for urban areas, because
No.
we also see in
For whole
rural
Austria.
areas that the challenges
Yes.
are bigger, right?
Yes.
And maybe I can also reflect on the first point you mentioned. You said that logistics and logistics processes in inner cities are done very well, so there isn't much room to improve. What's about rural areas? So on the countryside.
Yeah, here we have also a small advantage because we have the delivery together with letter and advertising. So we bundle this, parcels, letter, advertising, we are bundling this, and here I think it makes much more sense to discuss bundling in the rural areas than in the inner city areas, because of there it could be that the cars are not completely full. Yeah? However, a second topic to the inner city hubs, because of we are in our branch, we are really calculating on a cent. Yeah? So if you sorting one parcel one time more in an inner city hub, yeah, then you can forget the pricing in the actual setting. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we are testing that, but in another case. So I think you can put unloading equipment which is for 50 parcels sorted on tour that will be placed in an inner city area, yeah, where the time before and truck goes around, yeah, and then you have rendezvous points where the empty box will be reloaded and the full box will load it. Then you also have more efficiency because of if you are dreaming of a driver with a bike, yeah, which is in this also so productive than a driver with a van. Yeah? I think that's not possible. That's possible with such solutions, because in the other way you see very precarious employment like Miam or however. All these express deliveries with the bike in the inner city, I think there are not very rich people which are on these bikes, and that's necessary for such solutions.
That's a good point. Maybe we can take this one for later. I mean, the lack of staff and labor. But first, maybe we take the question to Ikea. I will read it for you. We had discussions with Ikea in Czech Republic, but the priority put on last mile delivery improvement seems to be low. How important is it for you from HQ perspective? When and how fast do you want to introduce and scale same-day delivery within Europe? Do you have a question on that, Klaus?
Within Europe, I mean, I can comment on Austria as such. We have it already today, so that's where we are. We think it has a place. We discussed a bit going up. There is a need for a fast service, but I think in the last mile, the need when it comes to a classic two-man delivery, the precision is the key here, right? So I mean, the customer may want it delivered tonight at 9 o'clock, but likely they want it on Friday morning between 9 and 11, right? So they can plan their day. So I mean, for me, the key is precision in last mile. But I mean, also with opening, of course, Westbahnhof, same day, next day has a space, right? Because the customer may say, you know, they find a sofa on Westbahnhof that they love and want to bring it home the same day, right? And then, of course, the same day type delivery. But the more we look at the topic, it's and also working together internally and externally with partners is precision. That is the key, I think, in last mile business.
And this one occurs a lot of troubles, right? Mr. Bauer, we discussed it before. So precision is key for end users, but you might heard about the bullwhip effect. So in the supply chain, we get big troubles when we go further to the source of the supply chain. So what does this, how does this affect your warehouses and the capabilities of warehouses?
It starts already before, because when I look at our shipment profile in March then we had 9%, and often in November, it goes up to 13% B2C business in the B2B network. Because many companies open a second channel and give the shipments to their traditional B2B provider. This makes us really huge problems, because a very big dissatisfaction from the customers, because he gets a curbside delivery, you know. Nobody brings him the shipment on the second or third floor, so we have to manage this. So we have to go back often to the customers of our partners, or to our talking with our own salespeople, that they explain the customer that B2C logistics and two-man handling is something totally different from B2B logistics. You know, you cannot produce it together; it will not work. You know. So first we have to bring out all this stuff in the B2C shipments. A second point is, I think, key is real-time visibility. With real-time visibility over the process, you can manage things. It's also tricky. Technically, we can make a real-time visibility for all of our trucks, you know, but we do it together with information or with Windows, because we have some streets in Vienna that they will deliver every day 4 or 5 shipments. You know, that means when a B2C customer is seeing that the truck is standing already in his street, so 100 meters away, then he tries to find the driver, he's phoning, why is it not coming? That means it's real-time visibility, but additional information that this can be organized. And what is also important is we are thinking for the future that we make this delivery on demand. That means that when the customer orders, he can already book the time slot. At the moment, we are thinking we can do it for approximately 50% of the shipments, that we can put 50% of the shipment, the rest we need to optimize the doers so that we are cost effective, and also on for sustainability, that that these tours are working then. But if the customer can already book it, then we have a better planning time and have often then not this bullwhip effect, because we see already that on some days there are more shipments to deliver, and then we can prepare for it.
Okay, thanks. And how do you handle those problems in your warehouses in terms of limited resources?
People or?
When it comes to warehouse facilities, because we are talking about precise delivery appointments. This affects your warehouse, right?
Yes. I mean, we work with, of course, many different systems. When we, I mean, for us it's key to have the goods close to where the people live. That's why we are in with a distribution unit in the 21st district. We also have a central warehouse in Upper Austria. And each store, of course, so we can ship from every sending unit on to customers. So, of course, looking at lead time, looking at sustainability, and so that's important. Then we of course, also what was mentioned now, we at the point of sale, we can offer the customer a date and a time, right? That's important for us because the customer needs that. They don't want to know, we will come to you next week sometime. They want to know, you will show up on Thursday between 8 and 12 in the morning, right? So that's super important for us in two-man handling. And then what we more and more see is, of course, offering a flexibility in saying whether it's with a click and collect near you location, saying that the customer has the choice to come pick up in the morning or nighttime or evening, right? And that gives us then a flexibility in our network to work with trying to avoid this and try to level a bit. Then we also work with, I think we of course get a lot of shipments from different countries in Europe and overseas as well. We have a possibility to book against what we call goods in transit. So when the shipment is dispatched from a supplier in Poland, we see the visibility and we book against that stock already then, right? So we don't necessarily only book against goods we have in the unit in Austria, we book against the goods in transit, which helps us. It also helps the customer because we can offer more product at any time, right? Okay. So that's important for us, I think, yeah?
Very good. I would like to add something from our point of view, because I mean, what you said, the customer needs to have transparency and some sort of choice. As DPD in Austria, we started many years ago as a B2B company, and it was 2015 we entered the 2C segment. And the first things we offered was a service called Predict in Europe. It's not only in Austria. And this service, you get as a customer, you get the information when the parcel will be delivered. So in a time slot, and you also have the choice to choose different options. And there is also something included which is called live tracking. It's you can see when the driver is close to your house, when will the driver come and where exactly he is now on the way. I mean, that has problems, you mentioned it, because sometimes it's for a consumer not really, they don't understand why, when the driver is close to his house, why there is no delivery, and he sometimes goes through the block and comes back.
Searching for the driver.
That's the logic of our route optimization. So yeah, and that's a very important point, and I think without having, and that was a must at the beginning, without having that many shops or boxes, this was really a requirement, because customers need to know when the parcel will be delivered and also to have other choices. So meanwhile, we have a huge network of parcel shops and boxes. Still Predict is available, but the importance, of course, is not that big anymore than it was at the beginning. So that's really something which is necessary to have.
That's a very exciting topic. You said there are 2 or 3 or 4 different options for your end users. So it's about flexibility on the last mile. What are the challenges out there? Or maybe you can give us a feeling about the split between regular deliveries and changes within the delivery process?
I mean, unfortunately, the percentage of these redirections is pretty low, too low, because still there is this habit in Austria, everybody wants to have a home delivery first, even if the person sometimes knows he might not be at home. I mean, there is still afterwards a chance to redirect it, but it would be easier, of course, for us if this decision is made earlier. So, is a small percentage. I mean, to give you one example, we also have one choice which says don't deliver the parcel. It's because some decisions are made over the weekend, for example, and then on Monday the person says, well, this was not a good idea. So to avoid the delivery and then being sent back the parcel, we have also this option, don't deliver it.
Very interesting. So again, flexibility.
Yeah.
Before we spoke about lack of resources in terms of warehouses. Now maybe let's have a spotlight on lack of resources in regards to staff. Davor, what challenges are there and what actions can be taken from the government to solve this problem of lack of drivers, for example?
That's also a very good question. Well, actually, I myself have a branch office in Poland, in Rzeszów, that's close to the Ukrainian border, by the way. And in Poland, only 103,000 Ukrainian truck drivers have been employed. That's a huge number. 80% of these truck drivers have been called to the war. That means around 80,000 truck drivers. These are trucks and truck drivers which are missed now on the Polish market. I'm talking only about the Polish market. In Austria, I don't know the numbers or figures, but I think there have been not so much Ukrainian truck drivers. That means there's not that much impact. In the Austrian chamber, we are trying to find a way how to create a better logistics world for these truck drivers, that they are motivated to work in this business. And if you ask the young people, nobody wants to be a truck driver, because when they hear the truck drivers is treated bad on the loading, unloading place on the borders, so that's, and he will be away 3-5 weeks from his home and from his family, that's a hard and really difficult world where they would work. But as I told you, in Austria we tried to find a way. That means we didn't find a way. What is a solution in my way for the future is intermodal transport. If you offer a work environment where the truck driver brings the trailer to the train, and even the same day he can bring several trailers to the train, and in the evening he's home with his family, he has a normal life, and the train brings the trailers long distance, as example, to Rostock, and there's another truck driver with a truck which brings the trailers to the end consumer. That could be the world, that could be the solution. I'm fighting now, and I see Mr. Schlögl is supporting from Korea that middle-sized companies can also jump in intermodal transport. That's very difficult because we have not that huge numbers of transports to fill a full train, and I will do everything in my position as a representative of the chamber for this industry to support these middle-sized companies and then create an environment for the truck drivers which could be interesting for them.
So it's about the working environment, and as well in other industries or verticals, the importance of work-life balance is increasing very fast. So I think we can also adopt this to the drivers branch.
If I may add, perhaps, because I was talking with our driver from the hydrogen truck we have in Switzerland, he never would change this truck anymore, so he never would leave Gebrüderweiss as long he has this truck, you know. So I think for younger people, alternative drives can also change the image of the driver and of the industry.
Definitely.
He gets so many positive feedback when he's at clients, when he's on street, that he never got that feedback. You know, everybody wants to see the truck and wants to know about something, and he gets every day so much positive feedback.
But,
To change it.
For that, I think I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?
Bad, of course.
The bad news are that I think in the next 50 years the diesel truck will be on the market. The good news is that we have now shared the cake of logistics at all. The last mile, electricity, middle-sized distances with hydrogen trucks, and long distance, in my opinion, in my eyes, will be still dominated by the diesel trucks for the next 50 years. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I would be happy to be wrong
Good point.
in this case.
Thank you. Before we go ahead, maybe we can turn on this screen because I can't see the question in a good way, but I think here's it as well. Can anything break the rapid development of e-commerce, online shopping? For example, sustainability, available last mile delivery capacity limits. Who wants to take the answer, Mr. Grausenberger?
Yeah, first I think that we will see in the next years this dynamic e-commerce growing than the last years. Yeah? So I think we will have 10, a little bit lower than 10% growing. Yeah?
Year on year.
Year to year. Yeah. It could between 6, 7, and 10%, I think. Yeah, that's first. The second one is you have to make your homework. Yeah, of course. So we invest a lot of, and Peter Murnum, the speaker before, also told this that we increased our capacities in sorting capacities per hour from this year 90,000 per hour to 120,000 this year. Yeah, so it's necessary to invest in your capacities because the rest of it is your competitors will get this volume, and we don't want that the competitors get too much volume.
Bad news for you, Mr. Schwab, right?
Yeah, we'll try to get some. No, I just want to add one point. It's of course the cost element. I mean, actually, we see a dramatic increase in our energy cost, fuel prices, and so on. And there's a certain limit also for the customers. I mean, we try to have this fuel surcharge in a shorter time frame to get the real percentage. But of course, our customers, they say, listen, I mean, I can also go to a certain point because otherwise I cannot make my product so expensive to cover these additional costs. So, I mean, unfortunately, the last years, we also have to say in the parcel industry, the prices which were on the market were not really reflecting the true cost.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to international shipments and with the trend that the big e-commerce platforms started to make everything free, what logistic is concerned. And of course, if something is free, it doesn't have any value anymore. And I hope that, and it has already changed, because due to this dramatic increase we had the last 2 years, of course the capacities in our industries were limited, and also customers saw, okay, I need to actually pay a little bit more, but then I have really, I'm on the safe side in terms of capacity. So it has already changed, but I think, and it will change in the next years, and that's necessary to reflect the cost increases we're going to face.
Thank you. I think, Davo, you wanted to add something on this.
If I understand this question before right, the best practice is here on the panel. Ikea and Starbucks, your company, in my eyes, a good competitor for e-commerce can be having a flex store shop somewhere in the center of Vienna, or Ikea, as you have on Marilferstrasse, and having a hub somehow close to the city center and being very flexible, having a small store, showing that the people can touch the products and so on, and immediate getting them at the home, at the hotel and so on. And in my eyes, this is the future, having a small flagship store, but behind you a hub and a logistics concept with that.
Okay. So, as you said, logistics systems have to change because consumer behavior is changing in the direction of omni-channeling. So, have the look and feel in the store. For
this
example,
is an advantage, absolutely, which e-commerce doesn't have. You can't touch it in e-commerce, but in your flagship store, you can touch it, you can see it, and you can get it immediate at your home or wherever you order it at the end.
Yeah. That's a good point, and especially whenever you want to have it delivered, that's the next question to Klaas. How important is a weekend delivery for you, for your customers in Austria?
It's important. We offer today Saturday, full day delivery, and with 4-hour delivery windows for 2-man deliveries. I think that's super important. That's when typically most people are at home.
In the field of parcel delivery or in the field of 2-man delivery?
2-man truck, exactly. Then, of course, as we know, if we look to the rest of Europe today, I mean, Sunday is a standard delivery day as well. It's not in Austria, we know that, but that's why Saturday is even more important for us. But then again, if we take, it's only delivery, or now the question is gone.
Delivery
exactly, delivery. But then I think if we not only talk delivery, we talk about the click and collect and pick up options. I think it's becoming equally important that the customer then can say, maybe to do a pickup on a Sunday or a Saturday, as they choose, right? To offer both options, I think is important. But Saturday for deliveries is a super peak day for us.
And when it comes to returns, is this also at the same level then?
For
returns, for example, if we say customers can return their goods with click and collect infrastructure, do you think Saturdays and Sundays are as important as, let's say, Monday to Friday?
There I would say less so, and I must say compared to maybe the fashion industry, we luckily don't have the same return levels as they do, right? Because I mean, typically, to Davor's point, a customer comes to the store and maybe touch and feel and understand the sofa before buying, right? Yeah. So of course, we have returns, and that's a flow we need to offer an express return in a store that I can book and so on. But I think specifically to offer a Saturday as a return day, it's not more important than a Tuesday or Monday, right? Yeah. But delivery it's incredibly important, right, on that day.
I see. I will grab the next question because we have 3 minutes left. How can a transport company say, unfortunately, most Austrian B2C still want the delivery at their door? Is that not floating against the trends and potentially missing out? I would just like to remind you of Nokia having such an arrogant attitude. Are they big in business today? They aren't. Who wants to answer it? That's a good one.
For me, I think... no, that's first. It's an market research. Yeah, it's not an attitude we have. It's a market research, and we got this feedback. And you should forget that we have in the last mile and first delivery, successful first delivery, altogether, whole Austria, near to 94%. The first attempt. Yeah, that means. The first attempt, we let the parcel there. Yeah. So, and if you want, or if you in the rural area, it's near to 97%. Yeah. So, if you start now to deliver only in pickup stations, only in pickup stores and so on, yeah, then you also producing and traffic because of these people. They are normally at home. They have to come to this shop and pick up their parcel, and then they have to go home. So it's only a change of the last mile from the profi, from the specialist, to the customer.
But this could change if we include trip chaining. For example, if I'm driving home
doing that.
Of course, yeah. So there are factors out there which could make it more sustainable or efficient.
One sentence: you don't have a shopping trip, yeah, and during this shopping trip, because it's the same discussion, yeah. You don't want that the customer takes this with him out of the Westbahnhof flagship store, he should pick it up anywhere where he is when he needs this thing, yeah? And not I have a shopping trip and then I have to replace a parcel from a locker to my home, because that's the job of us.
Of course it is.
And
yeah.
that's convenient. And that's also, I think, also for our environment important and saves carbon CO2.
Okay. Maybe Mr.
May I
Schwarz,
say
you
something?
want to
I
add
have
something?
a little bit of different opinion in terms of
I thought so.
environmental effects when somebody picks up a parcel from a parcel box, because there are already studies, and I think it is in many cases possible. For example, if the parcel box or the shop is close to a supermarket, then it always gets combined with buying something. It always depends on the kind of shop you have. You cannot expect it everywhere with every product, but with certain products, yes. Also, I mean, for us, of course, there is an advantage, because if you only drive to one box and you are able to deliver, I don't know, 10 or 15 parcels at once, it makes a huge difference instead of driving everywhere. So this is my first comment. The other one, I hope, and it's on us, that's for sure, to make it more attractive. That people go more to boxes or to shops and so on. I mean, of course, it always depends on the product. For some Ikea products, it's not a good idea when it's a bigger sofa or something like that. But it's on us to make it more attractive. And it will, and I think it's also for many of the e-commerce platforms, the bigger ones already offer a choice to the consumer. They say, okay, listen, we have 2 or 3 parcel companies, and then you have the choice, you want it at home, or you pick it up from somewhere. And there should be also a little price difference, yeah, to make it more attractive. So it's on the side of the e-commerce platforms, but also on our side, because it depends on our offer, of course. And I hope this is going to change a little bit in the future.
I think that's a good idea for all of us to close this panel. It's our job, we are the logistics experts, to make it more attractive and solve those challenges on the last mile. Thank you very much, Davor, Mr. Grausenburger, Mr. Bauer, Mr. Schwarz, Klaas. Thank you very much, and maybe we can chat afterwards then. Thanks.
Thank you.